Marius played girlfriend with someone and won the last checkup game. Facing his brother's envious eyes, he smiled loosely. It's just a good training. But that night, he scooped me out of the bed and went crazy. Other people's girlfriends are checked. Why don't you check the posts? Don't you love me at all? You still want to dump me with that wild man, you speak. I was so noisy that I slapped him. I'm your sister. Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. On the basketball court, Marius led the team to a landslide victory. The audience applauded thunderously and screamed incessantly. When the whistle stopped, the girls swarmed up and brought him water. My eyes were on Leonard on the losing side. From a distance, I saw him lifting the hem of his jersey to wipe his sweat, revealing his tight waist and abdomen. As he was looking at me, he looked at me and smiled at me. I bit my lip and immediately let out a groundhog scream in my heart. The friend next to me pushed me and urged in a low voice, "Hurry up and deliver water, and be careful that your Leonard is snatched by someone else." I retorted embarrassedly. "What, mine? Don't talk nonsense, it's obviously a crush, but I don't know how they can see it." At some urging, I took the water and walked towards Leonard, walked through the crowd and stood in front of Leonard. There was a crunch, and a basketball landed and bounced between Leonard and me pinpointly. Interrupted, I twisted my eyebrows and looked in the direction of the ball. Marius stood not far away, his face black and dripping. "Callista, where's my water?" His voice was not small, and it attracted the attention of the people who ate melons for a while. I was so embarrassed that I grabbed my toes and wanted to blow Marius' head off. So many people brought him water, he had to rob my hand. He was sick, in a dilemma. Leonard took the water from his teammates' hands. Gently, he said, "I have water, you can invite me again next time." Knowing that he was helping me out of the siege, my heart warmed. Is worthy of the male god I fancy, that is, he is empathetic. After smiling apologetically at Leonard, I turned to Marius and handed him the water in my hand with a blank face. He took the water but wouldn't let me go, and asked with a cold face, "Help me wipe my sweat." "You wipe it yourself." The next second, Marius said viciously, "Help me wipe my sweat, or I'll kiss you on the right here." I covered his mouth in frustration. He looked around in a panic to make sure that no one would hear his words. "Can you see the occasion when you're crazy?" Marius removed my hand from his lips. "I can't be angry with you bare legs and courteous to other men. I only punished you for wiping my sweat, and I didn't lock you up, which is already my generosity." I took a deep breath and meditated on him as my brother, that he was really sick. There's no need to worry about him. A month ago, Marius had an accident in the middle of the night running to play with someone in a race car. I lay in the hospital for a week before I woke up. I was guarding him at the time. When he woke up, I was about to call a doctor, but he grabbed my hand. "I'm not dead, aren't you sorry?" The inexplicable words almost shut down my brain. In an instant, my mind flashed through all the dramas of wealthy families competing for family property. Marius and I are not siblings, but my parents spoil me as their own daughter. He even gave me a portion of Jonathan's family as a birthday present. This made Jonathan's relatives jealous and sowed discord in front of Marius. I thought Marius wouldn't take their words to heart. Am I naive? In fact, he has always been suspicious of me, afraid that I will rob him of the family property. After figuring it out, I immediately pledged my loyalty to Marius. I promise that I have absolutely no such thoughts, and I can transfer the shares of Jonathan's family to him at any time. Marius sneered, "In order to be with a wild man, you don't want any property. You are really infatuated with him, but don't forget, you are my canary, and without my permission, you don't want to leave me for the rest of your life." I was struck like lightning. "What canary? I'm your sister." He grabbed the back of my neck and pulled me closer. "That doesn't change the fact that you are my own." Determined that he had a brain problem, I pushed him away to see a doctor, but he stunned me with a sword. When I woke up, I was in a small, windowless room, buckled to a strangely shaped chair. Marius leaned to my cheek and kissed. "Baby, didn't you promise to marry me? Why do you want to like people?" Seeing that he was about to kiss me on the lips, I threw my head back hard. "Brother, be sober." The back of his head was slammed by him, and the kiss fell all over the world. I couldn't control my emotions anymore and cried. Marius stopped kissing me, his brow furrowed. "Shut up, don't cry. Cry again and I'll sleep with you now." I pursed my lips instantly, but the tears still couldn't stop. Marius raised her hand to wipe my tears and whispered to me, "Say you like me and will never leave me." Fearing that he would continue to go crazy, I said with tears in my eyes, "I like Before the word "you" could be spoken, the door of the small black room was kicked open. When I saw the people coming with bodyguards, I felt like I saw a savior. "Dad, my brother is crazy." Marius was forcibly sent back to the hospital for a brain checkup. After examination and analysis by a brain specialist, it was determined that Marius had memory confusion caused by a car accident. He grafted onto me his feelings for others that he couldn't ask for, if I want him to get back to normal. I have to coax him with his memories. When he discovers the memory loophole himself, it will be normal. "Did you choose?" On the basketball court, Marius urges impatiently, not wanting to continue to be watched. I pulled him to an empty spot on the side of the pitch and asked him to sit down. Resignedly, he took out a wet wipe to wipe his sweat. Marius's black hair on his forehead was slightly wet, and his cynical face looked like garbage. But his face is very good-looking. No matter how bad his personality is, he is still the campus male god in the hearts of all the girls in the school, and there are countless suitors. It's a pity that even such a dazzling person will still be unable to ask for it in love. Others may not know who the white moonlight buried deep in his heart is, but I do. It was Ivy, a piano tutor from high school. She is also Marius's senpai. The first time I realized that something wasn't right between them was when I went to Marius' personal residence in my junior year of high school to look for him. Unexpectedly, Ivy is disheveled and pressed against the couch by Marius' neck. Ivy was heard in a hoarse voice saying, "I'll never like you." Ivy went abroad after that, and the night of Marius's drag racing was the day Ivy and others officially announced that they were together. I sighed and patted Marius on the head. "Brother, where is there no grass at the end of the world? Can't you change someone to like?" Marius lifted her eyelids. "I prefer to eat your grass." It didn't make sense to him, and I chose to shut up. In the evening, Marius' team organized a potluck. He had to take me. When he arrived at the dining box, he couldn't help but be teased by his good brother again. "Boss, we're all bringing girlfriends. How do you bring your sister, boss? Doesn't you want to bring a girlfriend?" "I don't have to bring it." In a burst of laughter, Marius said coldly, "Who said I didn't?" Someone immediately asked, "Boss, are you off the list? Why don't you introduce your sister-in-law to us?" When Marius looked at me, my heart lifted, and I quietly twisted his arm for fear that he would talk nonsense. In his cognition, I am the sister he raised single-handedly, his canary, and his girlfriend. Marius pulled out a chair and sat me down. Before replying, "My girlfriend is timid and scared. I'm going to be scared by you guys when I bring it out." As soon as these words came out, a large number of people were sour. At the dinner table, I don't know how to talk about a road trip to Tibet. Immediately, someone mentioned that I had graduated from high school and had run away with my classmates to Tibet. Sister Callista looks good and bold. When the boss went to look for her, she encountered a landslide. And even the people in cars were buried. I was sleepy for 2 days and 2 nights, and I didn't close my eyes and started looking for her again. I eat with chopsticks. That happened at the end of the college entrance examination last year, when there was a female classmate with whom she had a good relationship who was Tibetan. After listening to her talk about the beautiful scenery and interesting things in her hometown, several classmates discussed going to her hometown to play together. At that time, my parents were busy working abroad, and Marius was in charge of my business. After telling him about my travel plans, he said he was not allowed to go. I begged him for a long time but didn't answer. In a fit of rage, I sneaked away with my classmates, and it ended up in a landslide. The only road between my classmates' village and the outside world was destroyed. The village had a power outage, and there was no mobile phone signal. That's when I started to get scared. When Marius found me, I was about to ask him for comfort when he grabbed me and spanked me. I was sad and embarrassed, beating and scolding Marius, and scratching his face. After returning home, I had a long cold war with him because of this. Now that I know what happened to him at the beginning, I can't help but be a little afraid. The thought of having almost lost him forever because of my willfulness made my nose pantothenic. When I got home, I couldn't help but apologize to Marius. "Brother, I'm sorry." Marius pinched my face with a playful expression. "Baby, just say I'm sorry and want to make up for the damage I suffered." I reflected, as if it was too light. "Then I'll give you all the pocket money I saved." Marius chuckled, bowed his head, his lips pressed to my ear, his voice a little hoarse. "I don't want money, as long as you do your duty as a canary. How about sleeping with me?" From warmth to sudden jump to the color waist area, my guilt vanished in an instant. I turned around in anger and tried to leave, but Marius grabbed me by the lap. grabbed me on the back of the head and kissed me. His kisses were rude and eager, prying open my teeth and rampage, plundering wantonly. The touch of my tongue made my scalp tingle, and my whole body felt like it was about to explode. I tried to struggle, but my whole body went limp, and I didn't have any strength at all. It wasn't until Marius put her arms around me and kissed me that she let me go a little. I didn't even have the strength to stand up. With red eyes, he grabbed his collar and was impotent and furious. Marius, we are brother and sister. Do you want to ruin this home? Marius pressed against my forehead, a warm snort spraying over my face. It's not a kiss. What's wrong with a kiss? We didn't kiss each other in bed before, but I didn't kiss anywhere in your body. Marius has already had a relationship with Ivy. The thought that the two had kissed and been obsessed with each other in bed made me feel inexplicably disgusting. I'm not her. When the hell will you come to your senses? I gritted my teeth, a sulk in my chest that needed to be vented. I bit him the neck. Marius's breathing became heavier, his hands around my waist tightened, and his voice was low and hoarse. Baby, hard, or bite in another place. Sensing something holding me back, I let go of my mouth in horror, raised his hand and slapped him. Get out, dead pervert. If I stay with Marius any longer, I don't know if he's going to get better. I'm going to go crazy. So when I arrived at school the next day, I asked a few friends about living on campus. Bonnie shook her head at me. Don't toss with your brother's sister control. As soon as you move into the dormitory with the front foot, he can tie you home with the back foot. The other two also nodded in favor and brought up the matter of my water delivery yesterday. With your brother here, it's basically no fun if you want to fall in love. To be honest, if I didn't know that he was your brother, I would have suspected that he liked you, and he would be angry when he saw you getting close to other boys, just like jealousy. I was secretly frightened, and I was once again impressed by their keen insight. Marius is jealous, but it's not me who likes it. Bonnie on the side didn't know what to think, rubbed her hands and smiled. Actually, you're not brothers and sisters, and it's not impossible to engage in pseudo-orthopedics. It's exciting to think about. Callista, why don't you talk to your brother if you want to fall in love? There was a trace of strangeness in my heart, and when I wanted to catch it, I was already gone. What are you talking nonsense? He's my brother, and he'll be for the rest of his life. You're a novel, aren't you? Bonnie immediately took my arm and shook it. Just kidding, don't take it seriously. But then again, every time you're ready to make further contact with Senior Leonard, your brother shows up right away. Doesn't he really have a monitor on you? As soon as I said this, I was very frightened to think about it. Marius was in her second year of graduate school, and she had already completed the course ahead of schedule, and in the past few years, she has begun to take over the company's affairs. It stands to reason that you won't be present at school unless you have to. Every time I wanted to do something with Leonard, Marius would show up, just like this basketball game. Marius didn't have to participate in it at all, but he hid it from me. I was suspicious, and I really started to wonder where he would have installed a monitor on me. Look at your phone. After thinking about it for a while, I found someone to do a comprehensive examination of the phone. After getting a negative answer, I was relieved. I'll just say Marius wouldn't be so perverted, and that what happened before should have been a coincidence. After the last class in the afternoon, the mobile phone message prompt sounded. It was Leonard who asked me if I had time in the evening and asked me to go to a concert by the sea. The male god who has a crush on him meets. And naturally there is no reason to refuse. Leonard said that after waiting for me at the school gate, I immediately packed my things and rushed to go. As soon as I left the school, I saw Marius in a crisp black shirt with his back to me. My heart sank. Didn't he go to inspect the lynching project today? How will it be in school? Just thinking about whether to sneak away while he wasn't looking, I saw him turn around. I was stunned for a few seconds when I saw that it was Leonard. I hadn't noticed him resembling Marius's back before. Callista, Leonard walked up to me at some point. He reached out and shook it in front of me. Am I dressed strangely? Why do you think of me like that? Coming back to my senses, I smiled and explained. It's not surprising, it's just that it's rare to see Leonard wearing dark clothes, and I almost didn't recognize him. In the evening, the sunset by the sea paints the horizon in brilliant colors. I almost got hit on the slightly crowded sidewalk, but luckily Leonard had a quick eye and grabbed me into his arms. Are you all right? It was the first time I had been so close to Leonard, and I was a little embarrassed. Hurriedly stood up and thanked him. I'm fine. Thank you, senior. It's been so long and you're still called a senior. Isn't it too much to see the outside? Leonard raised his hand to pull the strands of hair from my cheeks behind my ears. the atmosphere was a little ambiguous. And I subconsciously retreated. Just as I was about to say something, my phone rang, and it was a message from Marius. When I clicked on the content, my face instantly darkened. There are a few photographs, all of which are taken from my intimate interaction with Leonard, and Marius threatened me. Go home now, don't force me to lock you up. I clenched my fists and looked around, but I didn't see Marius, so he sent a message and asked angrily, "Are you looking for someone to follow me, Marius? Don't you look at you, waiting for you to cuckold me. Now, give me home at once." His commanding tone almost overflowed the screen. It makes me feel bad. I don't. If you have the ability, you come back and lock me up, and see if Dad will break your legs. After sending the message, I blocked all his contact information. When I looked up, I saw Leonard buying a bouquet of flowers on the side of the road while I was replying to the message. I secretly suppressed the irritability in my heart and squeezed a smile at him. A car pulled up on the side of the road, and the bodyguard stepped out of the car and stood in front of me politely. "Miss, Xiao Xie always asked us to send you home." I gritted my teeth and said patiently, "I'll go home myself when the time comes, and you don't have to listen to him. Miss, please don't embarrass us." I was so angry that I wanted to get angry, but Leonard was right by my side. I had no choice but to maintain the appearance of a lady, say sorry goodbye to him, and reluctantly get into the car with a belly full of anger. In Marius's personal villa, I was about to smash something to vent my anger when the servant placed a pile of cutlery wrapped in cloth in front of me. "Miss," the young master said, "if you want to get angry, you can smash it casually, as long as you don't hurt yourself." This bastard. "Do you think you know me very well?" I didn't get what he wanted. When I returned to my room, I locked the door, grabbed the doll and beat it on the bed. When I got tired of the beating, I complained to my parents on my phone, accusing Marius of finding someone to spy on me. When I heard them say they would teach Marius a lesson, my mood finally improved. At night, as soon as I fell asleep in a daze, I felt like I was being held in my arms, my ears were crushed by my lips and teeth, and my heart was tingling, and I woke up to Marius's face. "Who allowed you to enter my room? Get out of here." Not only did he not roll, but he hugged me and kissed me more fiercely, and his hand probed into the hem of my clothes. He looked sickly. "Baby, you're so bad. I have to punish you so that you remember who you are." Seeing that he was about to go crazy again, I was so anxious that I raised my foot and kicked him, but he was easily subdued by him. At this moment, the mobile phone he casually threw on the bedside table rang. The screen showed that it was my dad calling. Marius had no intention of taking it. Seeing that his movements were becoming more and more excessive, I immediately grabbed my mobile phone and threatened, "Get out of here, or I'll get on the phone right now and have Dad break your legs." Marius raised an eyebrow nonchalantly. "You take it, just so that he can hear how I take possession of you. Let's see if he broke my leg first, or if he was so angry that he had a heart attack first." After saying that, he preemptively connected the phone. He bowed his head and kissed me wantonly, his hot palms running up my waistline. "Mr. Jonathan's voice rang out, "Get rid of Callista's watch, she's your sister, not a prisoner." Marius didn't say anything, just buried his head in bullying me. My cheeks flushed, ashamed and annoyed. Biting her lip and trying to hang up the phone, Marius deliberately pinned her hands above her head. Mr. Jonathan on the other end of the line didn't hear a response, and spoke again. "Did you kid hear that?" Marius' hand touched my sensitive spot, my lower abdomen tensed, and a strange sensation hit me. Marius pressed to the side of my ear and said in a barely audible voice, "The baby is so sensitive. Does he like his brother to touch it?" I had an undeserved reaction to Marius's touch. Tears kept falling like beads of broken thread, and I fell into a deep self-loathing. "I don't know when the phone has hung up." Marius' calm, hoarse voice rang out low. "It's sad to touch it, and I'm just disgusting to you. Where am I worse than him? Is it because I'm not as good as him, or am I not as good as him? Why can't you like me, even if you like it a little bit?" For the first time, I saw the boundless bitterness and brokenness in Marius' eyes. My heart was muffling, and the inexplicable emotions that I had ignored had finally found the reason. When Marius was in college, my mom wanted to match up a friend's daughter to be with him. A few times to create opportunities for the two. Marius didn't care at all. While my mom counted him down, she asked me to help assist them, for example, asking me to praise that girl in front of Marius, or urging him to find me a sister-in-law quickly. I did it all obediently. But I couldn't sleep for several nights in a row. It wasn't until he learned that Marius had ruthlessly rejected the matter that he fell asleep. it's been another year, and Marius doesn't know why she's moving out of the house to live alone. I pestered him after I knew and asked why. After I refuted a bunch of reasons, he angrily dragged me out of the room. Because I annoy you. I got so angry that I smashed all his shoes in the shoe closet at him as he left. If you move away, don't come back. I don't want you, brother, said that he would ignore him anymore, but he couldn't help but want to see him, so I kept making trouble for him, and he had to solve the big things with Sesame, so that he had to appear in front of me. When I went to him in my junior year of high school, I saw him pressing Ivy on the couch. My mind was in a mess, desperate to know about their relationship, but for some reason, I didn't dare to ask Marius, and instead turned to Ivy, in the coffee shop. Ivy watched me be silent for a long time, and suddenly her eyes turned red. Callista, I didn't mean to hide it from you. It's just that my relationship with your brother was unstable before, so I didn't say it. Ivy reminisces about the moments they spent together. Your brother is very good to me, knowing that something has happened to my family, and he wants to help me but is afraid of hurting my dignity, so he specially asked me to be your piano tutor. I am very grateful to him and love him, but after being with him for a long time, I feel more and more that our identities are very different. He refused the marriage arranged by his parents for me and moved out for me, which made me feel very stressed. I had to leave him. Your brother must hate me, and you'd better not let him know about our conversation today, otherwise, with his nature, I don't know what he will do. After listening to Ivy's words, I felt uncomfortable everywhere in my body, and I wanted to cry for some reason. Impulsively went back to Marius and wanted to ask him why someone he liked was hiding from me and using me to chase others. I saw him sitting on the ground smoking a cigarette, and there were broken pieces of glass on the ground not far away. I walked up to him and just mentioned the word Ivy. His expression changed dramatically, and he grabbed me by the shoulders and said, "What did she tell you?" Looking at him as if he was about to get out of control at any moment, I remembered what Ivy had said: silently suppress all emotions and say nothing. It's just that as time goes on, those emotions that are in my heart keep me moving farther and farther away from Marius. I don't have to stop bothering him, and I don't easily appear in front of him and start a one-sided cold war with him. It wasn't until now that I realized it. Those inexplicable emotions are all because I like him. His jaw was clamped. Callista, do you have a heart, thinking about others in front of me? Do you really think I don't dare to touch him? Why don't I have his hand broken first? Seeing Marius start going crazy again, I pushed him away. Leonard is gentler than you. Marius's expression froze, and it took a moment for her to realize that I was answering that he was worse than Leonard. The next second, Marius held my hand and pressed it against his face. But I can be your dog, can he? Me? How can a person be perverted like this? I don't need you to be my dog. Let go of me and get out of my bed. I took a deep breath and tried to pull my hand back, but Marius grabbed it and pulled him into his arms. A warm snort sprayed on the side of my neck. Baby doesn't want me to be your dog, so you shouldn't ask me to listen to you. Even if the baby cries dry up his tears this time, I won't stop. The neck was licked wet, and the body trembled. I yelled, "Get down, mad dog." Marius let go of me, a twisted excitement on her face, seeing that he finally obediently got out of bed. I didn't know whether to breathe a sigh of relief or a headache. Baby, I'm obedient. What about the puppy's reward? Marius knelt beside the bed, a longing look on my lips. A person really wanted to call the police in an extremely speechless situation, but the speed of the police must not have been as fast as his madness, and I dispelled this thought, and I said with a cold face, "Puppies aren't qualified to kiss, go back to your own room." After saying that, I felt like I had become a pervert, but I still underestimated Marius's perverted lower limit. Baby, if the puppy doesn't kiss, can I lick my hands? Immediately, the wrist was gripped, and the wetness on the fingers came. After pumping my hand hard to no avail, I subconsciously wanted to raise my foot and kick Marius away. However, in the face of his staring at the depths of my feet, I hurriedly retracted my feet. For no other reason, I'm afraid that he will pervertedly think it's a reward and lick my feet together. The next weekend, it happened to be my grandfather's 80th birthday. At the birthday party, Leonard attends with his mother. Leonard's mom saw me, took me by the hand and praised her in front of my mom for raising me well. Then he changed the conversation and said with a smile, "Callista is a kid I really like, and it looks like a good match for my Leonard. I heard that the two of them have a date, so why don't we as elders find a time to discuss their engagement?" I wrinkled my eyebrows and withdrew my hand, looking at Leonard with scrutiny for the first time. I had a crush on him. But I didn't have much contact with him at all. The only date was ruined by Marius. I really don't know why he brought it up to his mother, and misled her to the point where we were engaged. Just about to explain, Marius came at some point. He took me by the hand and pulled him along. The person I raised can't take the turn of outsiders to mess around with the Mandarin duck spectrum. She'll only marry me, no one else even think about it. Me, what is Marius talking nonsense? Looking at the different expressions of several people present, I was so crazy that I wanted to faint immediately. Or my mother calmly explained calmly, he had a broken brain in a car accident some time ago, and he had paranoia, which made you laugh. Callista, take your brother to take the medicine. I pulled Marius and hurried away. In the room, I slammed the door shut. Marius, didn't I tell you not to talk outside? He hooked me around the waist and pulled me into his arms. Everything I say is the truth. Didn't I raise you? Didn't you promise to marry me? Although Marius is only 3 years older than me, when I was a child, my parents were busy with the company, and most of the time he took care of me. But I didn't say the promise to marry him. I looked at him in frustration. You've got a problem with your memory, and when you're better, you'll know how wrong you are. At first, I was afraid that he would go crazy and run to find Ivy to become a legal coffee, and then I was afraid that he would run away to be a third for Ivy. Otherwise, I would have thrown the Ivy picture in front of him. The birthday party is not over yet, and it is impossible to stay in the room all the time. I warned Marius, don't talk nonsense in front of other people. I'm just your sister, remember? Marius shook his head. Puppies don't remember until they are rewarded. Let me lick it. No. Before he could say the words of refusal, Marius covered his mouth. Half an hour later, I walked out of the room with my legs limp. Marius tried to help me, but I immediately pushed him away. Stay away from me, pervert. After the birthday banquet, the children of the family who were good friends with Marius in the circle found a private club to get together alone. When the wine was drunk, several people played the game of girlfriend's latest checks, even took a picture of the clubhouse and posted it together to a circle of friends that only his girlfriend can see. Someone's mobile phone rang in less than 3 minutes. And it was the quintessence of the country when connected. There are also people who are still bragging about their girlfriend's obedience 1 second, and the next second their girlfriend will be killed in the club box. Everyone laughed and laughed. But Marius's face became darker and darker. He reassures himself that it must be Callista who didn't look at the moments, so while everyone was not paying attention, he secretly picked up his phone and sent the photo to Callista alone. Moments later, his phone rang. As soon as the corners of his mouth were hooked, he saw the caller ID official customer service number on his mobile phone. Bruce laughed. Marius, it's so late that sister-in-law doesn't call you. Don't tease us with your girlfriend who didn't want to win. Marius lifted his eyelids and lowered his glass. Do you think I look like someone who can't find a girlfriend? Bruce shook his head. Marius said there must be, and I was convinced. Everyone was full of envy. Marius, your girlfriend is too well behaved. Marius took a puff of his cigarette and laughed widely. I'm just doing a good job. It's like you, check the post before you get married, and I'm afraid you have to report when you go out after you get married, right? A man should be like a man, and be controlled by a woman like something. But when she got home, Marius was going to grit her teeth, holding on to the fire all night. He took the key to open Callista's bedroom door. Scoop the person out of the bed and ask, other people's girlfriends are all checked. Why don't you check the post? Don't you love me at all? You still want to dump me with that wild man? You speak. Callista was so noisy that she raised her hand and was a slap. I'm your sister. Marius felt a tingle in her head at the slap. The look goes from blank to complex. From discovering that he likes his sister and he deliberately keeps his distance, to learning that his sister likes someone else. He loses control of the car. Marius wakes up from a dream and recalls when he bullied Callista like a hooligan when he was in a trance. He even rushed to make a dog for Callista. It's just too embarrassing. Even if he wants to chase someone, he will definitely not be so undignified. Seeing the bright red slap prints on Marius's face, I humbly hid my numb palms under the covers. He didn't speak for a long time, and I was a little worried about the time, afraid that I would beat him hard. Hesitantly, you're allowed to go to bed tonight, but you're not allowed to lick me. Marius's face turned pale for a while. If you don't lick it, you won't lick it. I won't be so unlimited. I half convinced. You'd better talk. The sound of water in the bathroom rang for a long time, and when I was about to fall asleep, the side of the bed sank. There was no movement for a long time. it seems that he has really changed his sex. As soon as this thought fell, his chest with water vapor came up. The snort on the neck was sprayed, and the warm breath was getting closer and closer. Baby, you smell so good, I'll just lick it for a while, gently, and promise not to bite. I rolled over and kicked him. Marius, believe your word again, and I will be a pig. The leg was held by him, and he kissed it all the way to the base of the leg. When my tears were dry, he finally looked up contentedly and leaned in to kiss me on the lips. I hurriedly blocked my mouth with red eyes. Dirty dog. Don't kiss. Marius licked her lips aggrievedly. Baby, I'm not dirty. You've slept with someone else, aren't you dirty? I muttered. What? I told you to get out of here. Disobedient dogs are not qualified to sleep in my room. Marius looked down at me a few times and reluctantly left the room. I didn't get a good night's sleep and got a message from Bonnie early the next morning. Your brother has a girlfriend. I heard that the temper is still very big. My heart suddenly tightened. And I immediately called to inquire about the situation. I heard her say, my aunt's best friend's boyfriend saw the official announcement picture from your brother's circle of friends. I also heard that I have a girlfriend with a big temper. And you know that they don't dare to take screenshots and spread them, so I came to ask you. I immediately clicked on Marius Moments. The eye-catching picture is his face with bright red slap prints, accompanying text. What should I do if my girlfriend has a bad temper? Can only be spoiled, and it will be too late in the future. The comment area is a slip of 2 words. Forget the original. On the phone, Bonnie excitedly said, how is it? Is your future sister-in-law pretty? I stroked my forehead. It's hard to say. Mom may be right. He is not a memory disorder at all, but a paranoia. When I washed up and went to the restaurant, I saw Marius in a suit and leather shoes standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, and her hair was covered with hairspray. Hearing the sound of footsteps, he turned around slowly, and his voice was a little magnetic. Baby, morning. My body trembled. I looked him up and down, and secretly cursed the burning bun. I was dressed so ostentatiously last class. There was a class in the first class in the morning, and I didn't have time to sit and eat slowly. So I just picked up my favorite food and prepared to go to school. Marius stopped me. Wait, I'll send you. I looked at him suspiciously. Don't you have to go to work? It's more important to send you to class. Me. I always felt that he was trying to hurt me. Outside the gate, Marius pulled the door open and helped me fasten my seatbelt when I was seated. On the way to school, Marius put his hand on the steering wheel and talked to me about Leonard. Baby, you also saw the situation yesterday. He is a mother's boy, and he is not reliable at all. To put it bluntly, he did everything he could to seduce you, just to take a fancy to your shares in the Jonathan family. Only I am truly good to you. I kept silent, but I had a crush on Leonard only because he resembled Marius. I just didn't see my heart clearly at the time, and I mistakenly thought that I liked Leonard. Outside the school, I was about to get out of the car, but the door was locked. I turned to look at Marius. Open the door. He stretched out his long arms and hooked me to close the distance with him. Baby, do you hate me? If you don't answer well, I'll kiss you here. I frowned at him, and after a moment of stalemate, I turned my head and said, not annoying, then I kiss you. Do you feel disgusting? Marius today feels strange to me, and his questions make me want to answer. I pushed his face away impatiently. Are you bothered? I'm going to be late for class. Baby, answer me. Marius is a bit aggressive. It's disgusting. Open the door. Marius put her arms around my waist and into his arms, bowing her head and kissing me. This time he kissed me tenderly, but he didn't allow me to run away. His kissing skills were so good that he easily teased me. He let go when my eyes were foggy, raised his hand to wipe the water stains from my lips, and smiled. Why should the baby lie if he doesn't hate kissing with his brother? I broke his hand and sat back in place, urging him to open the car door. Just trying to get away from him as quickly as possible. Marius' inquiring eyes scared me, as if I was going to see through my hidden secrets in the next second, knowing that I liked him. I kept restraining myself to prevent myself from sinking in false love. I'm afraid that once his memory returns to normal, he will tell me that everything is my own doing, and that what he likes is Ivy. I'm also afraid that this shady like to be known by my parents and let them take back their love for me. People who have been abandoned at birth really don't have the courage to accept the loss of a family member who has been so hard to have. Marius and I can only be brother and sister. Marius wrapped his arms around me from behind. Callista, I like you, for a long, long time. Can you try to like me too? The chaotic thoughts in my head were gone, and only the deafening sound of my heartbeat remained. I didn't listen to the morning class at all, and my ears were full of Marius's confessions. I finally finished the day's classes, and an unexpected person contacted me. Ivy sent a message, "Callista, I'm back home. I want to save your brother. Can you help me?" I looked at the input box and was stunned for a long time. They already like each other, and I should help them get back together. But my heart is sour. Before I could reply, Marius sent another message, "Baby, I booked a restaurant. Shall we go on a date in the evening?" The address and time of the restaurant are attached at the bottom. After some struggle, I sent Ivy the restaurant address. Maybe when they're done, everything will be back on track. In the evening, I returned to Marius's villa alone. Watching the time and my heart ache, my dad called, "Callista, help me find a document in your brother's study. I won't answer his phone. I don't know what he's up to." I put away my emotions and went to the study, rummaged through the cabinets to find the documents my dad wanted, took pictures and sent them to him, then start sorting through the messed up files. But I was surprised to see a thick photo album, the front of which was a photo of me when I was a child. The back of the photo is a detailed record of my growth, the first day of kindergarten, the first test results, the first tooth change. The front was normal, until my sophomore year of high school. The angle of the photo shoot became more and more weird, and it was completely a candid perspective, and the text behind the photo began to gradually distort. The baby smiled so beautifully, I wanted to hide her. The baby is asleep, I really want to kiss. The skirt that the baby is wearing is so short. Is it tempting me to deliberately show her calves? Why is the baby talking to other boys? So she wants to kiss her in the mouth. The baby appeared in my dream again, and I couldn't help but kiss her all over my body, and I was guilty. Baby actually matched me with someone else, and she didn't like me at all. Liar. When I was a child, I said that I would grow up to be my princess, but he pushed me to others. The baby is so bad. Put her in a small dark room and break it. Shut up, shut up. Don't hesitate any longer. The photos in the back are almost all locked up. The handwriting grew more and more scribbled, as if he could see the madness of the words as he wrote them. After the shock, I finally realized that Marius confessed that she liked me for a long time and was true, combined with his anomaly, so he has regained his memory. The thought of Ivy makes me pale. She lied to me. I hurriedly asked the driver to take me to the restaurant where I was dating. Numerous calls to Marius along the way, all of which showed no answers. When I arrived at the restaurant, I was about to go in to find someone. Ivy is seen helping Marius into the hotel next door. I immediately followed and started recording, that is, until Ivy opens the hotel room, pushes Marius to the bed, and comes back to close the door. I slammed the door against me. "What do you want to do to my brother?" Ivy didn't seem to expect me to show up, looked a little flustered, and quickly returned to normal. "Callista, your brother and I are back together. I haven't seen you for so long. Isn't it normal for adults to do something with passion?" Before I could expose her lies, the room burst into crisp applause. Marius, who was originally delirious, stood behind Ivy. "I haven't seen you for so long, and you're still lying as always. It seems that I was just kicking you out of the country in the first place, and I was still too merciful." Ivy looked back in horror. "You pretended. You've already figured out that the wine is wrong." Then he began to beg for mercy. "Ah Yen, I just love you too much for a while. You can let me go. I promise never to be in your eyes again." "You think that's all this nonsense I want to hear?" Met Marius' indifferent eyes. Ivy lowered her head in front of me and began to explain the lies she had told me. Never been with Marius. Becoming my piano tutor wasn't Marius' arrangement either. The scene on the couch that seemed like forced love was actually Ivy sending something to Marius in my name and undressing to seduce him. When it was revealed, Ivy deliberately punctured Marius' disgraceful feelings for me and threatened to tell me. That's when Marius chokes her neck. Later, she knew that I had misunderstood, so she lied to me and left a pimple in my heart. I made up my mind that I wouldn't get it, and I wouldn't have a good time with Marius. I've said everything I need to say. "Can you let me go?" Marius sneered. "You go." Ivy immediately staggered away. I clutched my phone tightly, holding my breath in my heart. "You just let her go so easily. Why didn't you call the police?" "Is it because Ivy says he likes him? So he is soft-hearted?" Marius led me to the floor-to-ceiling window of my room. "Look below." I went to see a black car parked on the road in front of the hotel, and several big men were leaning against the station. It didn't take long for Ivy to be shoved into the car. I clutched Marius' sleeve. "Brother, this is a society governed by the rule of law. Don't mess around. Am I like someone who can break the law and commit crimes?" I pouted, and I didn't know who had gone crazy and locked up my little black house. After listening to Marius's explanation, I realized that it was arranged by her rich second-generation boyfriend's family. She married into a wealthy family for the sake of her mother and son, and let her rich second-generation boyfriend take a lot of medicine. But she went too far and died of madness immediately. That's when she fled back to China, and Marius's idea came up again. I breathed a sigh of relief knowing that she would be punished as she deserved. Since it's all right, let's go home. The next second, I was pressed against the bed. Baby, we haven't settled the account yet. I shy away from his gaze. What do we have to do? Let me go, baby. There is a punishment for not being obedient. Marius ripped off his tie and blindfolded me, and tied my hands with a belt. I opened my mouth in a panic and started crying. Brother, I was wrong. I shouldn't have pushed you to others. I'm scared. Can you let me go? Marius flicked his fingers around me, and his voice was hoarse. Baby, do you like me? I pursed my lips and didn't want to answer. Other people's relationships are from pursuit to sweet dates, and Marius and I are either in bed or in bed. I couldn't help but get angrier and angrier the more I thought about it. Pervert. You're just trying to figure out my body. The tie that blindfolded me and the belt around my wrist were untied. Marius took my hand and put it on his abs, and whispered bewitchingly, then change the baby's body to me, and I can play with me as much as you want. I swallowed, a little excited. After stripping Marius naked of his upper body and touching it, I stared at the waistband of his pants with some hesitation. Baby, aren't you curious? Pull it down and take a look. Curiosity flickered my fingers, and my eyes widened at the sight of what I saw. The feeling of danger hit me, and I immediately rolled over and got out of bed and ran. I'm going home to do my homework, so I don't play. When my first winter break from college came, I finally agreed to Marius to be his girlfriend. However, it's an underground love. He talked to me like a complaining husband for a long time. After putting him to sleep again, I urged him to hurry back to his room. During the winter vacation, I live with my parents, and if I don't pay attention to it, it will be easy to be exposed. He put on his pants and complained. Callista, am I your dark lover? You beckon, I'll sleep for you. Wave your hand, and I'll get away. What kind of boyfriend am I? I pouted. You came up to let me sleep. Okay, I'm still wronged. I thought he was getting dressed slowly, so I shoved his shirt into his arms, pull open the door and push him out. The next moment, we looked at our mother outside the door. Rao has been through strong winds and waves. She has always been calm, but her eyes widened at this time. You are. I was terrified, and I quietly hid behind the door. Marius stretched out his long arm and scooped me into the crook of his arm. Mom, we're in love. That night, the entire villa was brightly lit. Marius was punished for kneeling outside the door. Mr. Jonathan slammed down. Break up with Callista, or kick you out of Jonathan's house. The choice is yours. Marius looked at me firmly through the crowd. I'm not going to break up. When Mr. Jonathan heard this, he immediately asked Marius to take away the bank card and various key that belonged to Jonathan's family. Let him leave the Jonathan house with nothing. I thought about it coming to light. Maybe I was kicked out, and I didn't expect this to be the case. I choked up crying and tried to intercede, but my mother stopped me. Callista, this is your brother's own choice. You trust him enough. You may not understand Mom and Dad's good intentions now, but you will understand later. Marius, who was born with a golden spoon in his mouth, had a bitterest year of all, but fortunately, I found an opportunity to sneak out to find him on the day of the Chinese New Year. In the rental house, I gave him all the little coffers I had saved up over the years. Marius raised an eyebrow. Baby wants me to eat soft rice. I tied the hand-knitted scarf to him. Anyway, Dad said that he would never let me marry a poor boy. You can do it yourself. Marius kissed me on the lips a few times. In order to be able to marry a wife, eat soft rice and eat soft rice. 6 years later, Marius is an upstart in the business world, and the company's market value is on par with that of the Jonathan family. This new year, he finally re-entered the door of Jonathan's house with his head held high. At the dinner table, Marius mentioned marrying me. Mr. Jonathan took a sip of tea and said slowly, Callista is only 25 years old, and I think we can wait another 2 years for marriage. Marius was so angry that he almost slapped the table. Old man, you're enough. I'm going to be an old man when I wait a minute, Mr. Jonathan glanced at him. You're an old man. What's the matter with my Callista? I twisted Marius' lower back and motioned for him to lower his posture. Marius reluctantly knelt down. Dad, Will you please raise your noble hand and let your son get married, Mr. Jonathan was relieved, his eyes full of satisfaction. This relationship, which was criticized at the beginning, is now envied by everyone. On Chinese New Year's Eve, Marius asked me again for the gift he had in mind. You're not unprepared, are you? Ready? I gave him something with a speechless face. It was a dog tag with a silver chain, and Marius had been asking for it for years. I just wanted to take a deep breath, and I couldn't understand why he was obsessed with being my dog, so I dragged it out for years. Tonight, Marius was particularly excited, the dog tags on her bare chest shaking rapidly. Baby, say I'm your dog. I raised my hand to cover my eyes. Marius, can you please stop being so perverted? He took my hand away and looked at me and prayed, baby, I want to hear. I was ashamed to say, you're my dog. Marius's eyes lit up and she took me tightly into her arms. Baby, the puppy will never leave you. End of full text.